Ben Glinsky, founder and CEO of Live Good. Over the past 20 years, we've launched and run some of the most successful products and companies in the entire network market, paid out close to $1 billion in commissions. People often ask, how have our companies been so successful while thousands of others have failed? The answer is simple: timing. Recognizing trends in the network marketing industry, trends in society, trends in the economy. With inflation higher than ever, gas prices up, causing utility bills to rise, mortgage and rent payments going up, travel getting more expensive. People are looking for ways they can save money without compromising quality. Because of that, the network marketing industry is at a major crossroads. Products have become more and more overpriced just so companies can pay out big commissions and compensation plans. But with buying habits trending away from higher priced products in search of better value, that model just doesn't align with where the industry is going. In fact, if you look at some of the biggest companies in the network marketing industry, like Herbalife, USANA, and Nu Skin, their revenues are down as much as 20% from just a year ago. While companies like Walmart and Costco's revenues are up 9% and 12%. In the words of our director of network marketing, Nader Kazan, the days of selling overpriced products so a few people at the top of a compensation plan can get rich are over. That's why we created Live Good. Teaming up with amazing health and wellness experts Ryan and Lisa Goodkin, we've created a line of the highest quality nutritional supplements on the planet that people need. And we make them available for as much as 75% less than what other companies are charging for lower quality products. Product ever created. Higher quality with more antioxidant packed ingredients than even best-selling non-organic Super Beets, and for less than half the price. CBD oil, available anywhere, and with 750 50% stronger for just $18. Not only that, but every one of our highest quality products comes with a full 90-day empty bottle money-back guarantee. If you don't absolutely love any of the Live Good products that you order, send back the empty bottle and we'll give you a full refund. No questions asked. So what does all this mean for you? On top of having products that virtually sell themselves in a company that is perfectly aligned with shifting buying habits in the marketplace, we give you all the tools, systems, websites, videos, training, and everything you need to help you earn extra income easier and faster than any other company in the industry. In fact, this video that you're watching right now is part of the industry's most powerful Powerline-driven marketing system that allows you to reserve a free temporary position in our company before you have to commit anything to getting started. What that means is when you enter your name and email on this page, we will immediately reserve you a position and show you everyone after you by placing them under you in the power line. Now, each Thursday night is the cutoff day or miss out. Everyone who locks in their position by becoming a member of Live Good for just $9.95 a month, plus a one-time $40 affiliate sign-up fee, moves to the top of the power line above everyone who waits. Those people are then placed in our 514 forced matrix before all the people below them in the power line. So each person is positioned in the matrix in the highest available position following their enroller. By being a member of Live Good, you're going to save up to 75% off the highest quality nutritional supplements on the planet to keep you and your family healthy. And if you happen to get some people placed under you in the matrix and you make a few extra $100 a month or a few extra $1,000 a month on top of that, even better. And the way our compensation plan works, you have the potential to earn over $2,000 a month in the matrix without ever having to enroll a significantly more. In fact, with our matching bonuses, just by enrolling one person, you double your earning potential. With millions of people joining Live Good in the next 24 months, the only place they can go in the matrix is under the ones who are already in there. So the sooner you lock in your position, the higher you'll be playing. Most exciting company in the industry. We'll see you at the top.
I'm gonna do this the good way. These items. Okay. So yeah, I think I've covered most like everything.
In this video, which is just over 2 minutes long, I want to show you how to create this 84-page ebook simply from one topic idea. So called Word Genie from Designer, and I just type in the topic name, sailing, and once I've done that, I can tell Word Genie who's this ebook targeted for. So I'm going to put in for the over 50s, and then choose one of 10 different titles. This one stands out: The Thrill of the Race, Sailing at 50. And then it generates the outline for me. And of course I can customize the outline, but for now I think that looks pretty good. And then within a few minutes, it generates the full ebook ready for me to tweak and tune and make my own. And from there, all I need to do is choose a template. So there are hundreds of templates to choose from. And with any of them, you can have a quick preview of the template, see what it looks like. And this one obviously looks pretty good, but for my sailing ebook, I'm going to choose something a bit simpler. And I'm going to use this one called Silk. And in a few seconds, it uploads all the content into my template. And of course, I can customize that, adding my name, details, changing font, styles, colors, anything I want. And you can see all the layout is really well done. You know, there's full page layouts, there's double column layouts. You can see all the pages have been pre-populated with sailing images because it knows that my ebook is about sailing. And I can change the style. So if in this particular one, perhaps I don't like this image, so I click on change image and I can choose one that's appropriate. Or in fact, I can even just upload my own or just search over.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, guys. Happy Monday. Hope everybody's having a great start to the week and had a wonderful weekend.
Yeah. We'll start streaming next week, too. I know you guys a lot of asking about. Well, I'll set it up so it's streamed. Sorry about that. We're still right now just recording it and posting it to YouTube.
But that way everything will be done the same way.
Yeah, you can just log into YouTube and stream it. See ya.
Yes. So today we're here with our newest launch.
Much anticipated
methylene blue.
Oh, okay.
In this adorable little container that you pop open.
Yeah, and show how that works.
Yeah, you don't have to open it from the top. It just flips open, almost like the Band-Aid containers. You don't have to do that, and then you can take a strip out. Super easy.
Yeah. And then here's the foil wrap. So when they come in these thin little foil wraps, you open the foil, right? It just peels open. And just why not? Just for some viewing pleasure, let's just go ahead and drop that water soluble.
Actually, it's really pretty.
Water soluble fiber in the water.
Yes. So what I first want to talk about is really neurodegenerative diseases and how it's plaguing us. And obviously what we have to work with the drugs on the market, clearly they're not working. Otherwise we would be in a much better situation than we are.
Not very promising.
Not at all. And it's very sad. And it's something that's always on my mind with aging. It's just because you see people that go through it, your loved ones, your friends. And it's very, very scary. I mean, I think we know at least two handfuls of at least friends' parents or aunts, uncles, my aunt personally, going through this. And it's just a very sad thing. So when it comes to what goes on there, we talk about mitochondrial metabolism. You've heard us talk about mitochondria. Those are the powerhouses of our cells. Those are the things that are responsible for the energy. So what happens as we age, as our brains age, is our mitochondrial metabolism decreases. So that energy production inside there, in all of our cells in our body, that production goes down. It's not happening like it should. And that leads to, for simple cases, just memory loss, lack of focus.
Sure.
But then obviously our extreme cases, our dementia, our Alzheimer's. Yeah. So the goal is to take supplements, do things helpful for our body, lifestyle medicines that can prevent that from happening. That can come in and jump into that mitochondria and help that energy production. It's like your electron transfer chain, but I know it's getting a little technical. And that's the goal with this, and that is really the goal with methylene blue.
Definitely is. 100%. I think today's discussion is as much about metabolic health as it is about a supplement. I think that supplements are only like one part when we talk about it. We talk a lot about aging and how the signs of aging originally start to show up. And for Lisa and I, most of the time we say, well, look, it's a physical sign. It looks like a lack of muscle mass. It looks like sarcopenia. It just looks like somebody that hasn't been able to maintain healthy lean muscle mass as they age. But unfortunately, with brain health, and I don't like that term so much, but it's typically a process that can start at any time, can really start at any age, especially now with our environment, the foods we eat, the toxins we're exposed to. So the environmental impacts are actually pretty great in this category.
And you don't recognize that it's going on. It's not visual, like you said, with like muscle loss. You don't recognize it's going on until it's a little bit there or too late.
Yeah, right. And so that now I'm starting to shift sort of my way of viewing aging a little bit. It's like, of course, there's the physical manifestations of not having enough muscle loss or muscle mass. But then you start thinking about the way the brain health sort of, the transgression of like the way it changes and evolves and how early of an age it can be, or lack of focus or inattention, that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's really like when I think about this discussion, I'm thinking metabolic health. What does that even mean? She talks about mitochondria, she talks about electron transport chain, but really it's about like metabolism. Maybe we just can use that word as metabolic so that we're thinking about the movement of energy, how our bodies derive energy, and specifically how our brain is using the energy that's created, right, and ways to optimize it.
With metabolism, I'm sure your first thought is like we talk about, we want to increase our metabolism in our bodies so we can lose weight, right? That's increasing the energy production. It's the same thing, but it's going inside, it's in the cell.
The way the mitochondria works, the way that our energy is moved, it's not created or destroyed, it's a transfer of energy, so. Okay. All right, so cellular health. So think about the brain as being an energy demand center, very high. 2% of our body weight, yet is about 20% of our energy consumption. And the brain also, along with the spinal cord, is considered the central nervous system. And there's an entire barrier, it's called the blood-brain barrier, that protects the central nervous system. And so what that does, it's designed so that toxic metabolites and things can't really easily cross and get into the CNS. That's the whole idea. And we'll come back to that in a few minutes when we start talking about methylene blue and exactly how it works. But within the cells, just on a basic cellular level, we learned in like high school biology, I still learn at work, powerhouse. But the mitochondria act as powerhouses. That's where the energy is transferred, moved, and it gets designed or put into a way that the body can use. So within the mitochondria, you actually have a process called electron transport chain, and that's the process. And I'm going to use an analogy similar to like a train going down the tracks. So for cellular energy, typically it's glucose. For normal respiration energy, it'll use glucose. And it'll burn up the glucose and it'll create metabolites, which typically in this case are oxidants or free radicals. So a train is going down the tracks burning coal. Well, it's transferring its energy, it's making energy, and then it's creating toxic metabolites in the form of smoke. And so the body has a very big job of cleaning up this mess. And it's a constant mess that it's going through and cleaning up. And as we age, sometimes those systems start to break down. A typical cell, I think, has between 1,000 and 2,000 mitochondria. But again, as we age, we're constantly tearing them down, building new, making new, making new. And over time, as we start to see the system sort of break down, I think that's when you start seeing the signs of aging and the signs of disease really start to set in. It's a mitochondrial-based disease process. And it seems like that's really where most of our anti-aging experts and longevity pioneers are really putting a lot of effort into this category. So all right, cool. Let's see what I have for my notes. I think we can talk about methylene blue then. Now, Lisa, why don't we go into that? So, all right, first of all, guys, so just go, try to validate or verify the source of information that you're getting. Methylene blue has been around for over a century, probably 150 years or so. It was originally developed as a synthetic dye. It is in the form of a salt. It later was found, because the way that it was being used to dye slides and for microbiology, they identified that it was killing viruses and bacteria. And eventually, it was used as a treatment for malaria. So widely known for treating malaria. Scientists then started to really study this molecule significantly. I think the World Health Organization still has it listed as an essential medicine. Blue is that it's a really small molecule, and it has both water-loving and fat-loving properties. And that's key for the blood-brain barrier.
I was going to say, because it
readily crosses the blood-brain barrier. It goes quickly across, mostly because of its fat-loving properties, and then, of course, being like, 300 some Daltons. It's a small molecule. But by doing so, it really gets right into the brain and the spinal column. And that's where we'll start to talk about the way that this thing works, the mechanism of action, and of course, we'll start talking about dosing, some of the side effects, and all those as well.
Okay, awesome.
So, yeah. Okay, cool. All right.
And I will say, when Ryan said about the studies, your sources, if you'd like some, just go ahead and reach out to me so I can send them to you, because it does make a big difference. Again, you could type anything into Google and you could get one saying this and one saying that, but what's the validity of those? You got to know your source.
And we'll come back to this a little bit, but I have clinical references from being a pharmacist, and I pay for them, and so I'll reference those, and those are almost, those are all evidence-based. They're tied to clinical trials and studies, and often that's where I'll turn to for my information, and of course I'll do some of the simple searches as well. But yeah, she's right. Be careful with the information you get. All right, so how does methylene blue work? Well, in carbon monoxide poisoning, it's a condition called methemoglobinemia. It's a case where there's not enough oxygen being delivered to the tissues, basically. So this has the ability to increase the amount of cellular respiration in the brain, so it carries more oxygen. It can do that because of its ability to synthesize heme proteins. If you look up heme and you look at the function of heme, you'll start to see and understand a little bit more about how this product works. Methylene blue is also a potent antioxidant as well. And going back to the idea of cellular respiration, all that electron transport chain use glucose, they do create toxic metabolites in the form of free radicals. So having that antioxidant highly concentrated in the brain is, yeah. So what's very unique about methylene blue is it's considered a redox agent. It can kind of ping pong, flip its role pretty significantly. So within the mitochondria, there's a process called electron transport chain. It also goes by other names, citric acid cycle, Krebs cycle. But this is the chain that transfers energy, and it does so by using electrons. So that the the fact that methylene blue is an electron donor is a really big deal. So it can actually donate electrons to electron transport chain. It can also recycle those electrons. That's its part in regulating and helping to to supplement the mitochondria.
To produce more energy.
Yeah.
All the whole.
Yeah. So obviously, with all of this being said, again, the name of the game here is we're focusing on the fact that it's highly concentrated in the brain and it's deeply involved in mitochondria and energy production. Yeah. So what does all that mean? So it's going to help us with all the things that we just talked about. So from an aging perspective, I know you were just looking at studies now. That statistical significance with improvements in Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, so neurodegenerative diseases, still widely being studied and used. It helps with memory, focus, cognition. They say that of mental agility. They said that you feel plugged in, a sense of focus.
Right.
All these things are what people report after taking methylene blue.
Sure. And some of these studies that I was just reading, that were, from doctors reporting that it just like stopped, the Alzheimer's in its tracks, methylene blue, and it's just kind of crazy to like hear that such a strong point. Like, wow. And so I'd love to again share those with you guys if you're interested in that. But it's just so many promising benefits. And again, what we have our hands on from the medical system right now for brain health is just so limited, and it's just not working.
It's not working. And it's killing. I mean, it's our caregivers are the ones that suffer the most burden. So shout out to all you caregivers out there. I know how difficult that is on you. But we haven't even started seeing the real fallout and pain from this, unfortunately, this growth of a chronic disease that we're seeing. So we've got to start doing a lot more about it. And look, hopefully methylene blue resonates with you. And if it does, great. But the point of today's conversation is just to share our thoughts on how this can possibly improve your mitochondrial health and potentially have a role in the things we're talking about.
Right.
So, all right, how do we take it? Let's talk about dosing. Let's talk about the best way to take methylene blue. Let's go to the thing. We'll get some questions, and we'll see, because I get a lot of questions. So right now, first question. You want to answer? You want to go? Pharmaceutical grade. That's the big one.
We'll go there.
All right.
I've had like 5 emails.
So from pharmacy perspective, is it pharmaceutical grade? You guys are absolutely right for asking the question about the grade of methylene blue, because it is there's industrial dyes out there that are like covered in metals, high in metal content. So you're absolutely spot on the what grade it is. Now, look, the reality is that nothing is really pharmaceutical grade unless you're in pharmaceutical manufacturing. However, with that said, this is in fact methylene blue USP. All right, USP would be considered the equivalent or the source for pharmaceutical grade manufacturing. That's really, really important. So we'll load the seats up on the website so you guys can reference that, because that's a problem. So if you're using other methylene blues, just make sure that they have USP, make sure they have their metal testing, and take a look at the C of A just look at the C of A as well. But the metal testing would be separate. So, all right, that's a big one, and good question. All right. What else? Anything?
I think that was really the
dosing. I think I get a lot of, and drug interactions.
Yeah.
All right. So dosing is published most to do with intravenous. So intravenous use is common with methylene blue. All hospitals have it on hand.
A lot of fun.
So looking even at the clinical literature, shows about 1 to 2 milligrams per kilogram per day. That's typically IV usage. You're seeing 0.5 to 4, so 0.5 milligrams to 4 milligrams per kilogram per day IV. And so if you assume there's 100% absorption bioavailability in IV, which is what you should do, then orally dosing, you would think you would need more. But however, more is not always better, especially with methylene. You potentially could have the reverse effect at high doses. So what are those high doses? High doses are probably anything over 10 milligrams per kilogram per day. Like that would be extremely high, right? And that's just per kilogram means it's 2.2 pounds. Just do 5 milligrams per pound. For me, that'd be 1,000 milligrams in a day. I weigh 210 bucks. It'd be 1,000 milligrams in one day. This is 20 milligrams per film, and there's 15 films in the box, right? So we're not talking about high dosages here. We are not even anywhere even close. As a matter of fact, the low dose range is low, but at 20 milligrams has been shown to be plenty effective. That's the point. You don't need to go high in your dosages, and nor should you, because then you can start to run into other problems. So you'll know that, first of all, pregnancy and breastfeeding is contraindicated. Do not consume methylene blue if you're pregnant or breastfeeding. If you have a G6PD genetic mutation, you should not take methylene blue. And if you don't know, that's something you can ask your doctor for, but most people would know. And then of course there's the third one, the big one. So what do I do if I'm currently taking that SSRI or an SNRI for mental health or for mood depressive disorder? However, that's typically seen in high doses, much higher doses. So at 20 milligrams, the risk of bad. We're not seeing, I have no evidence, there's no literature, there's nothing to support the fact that 20 milligrams would cause serotonin syndrome. So with that said, SRI or an SNRI or any type of antidepressants, an MAOI, which you don't see that often anymore, you should still consult with your provider. And if he says no, hard no, don't touch it, you should say something to the effect, well, 20 milligrams orally doesn't seem to be a high dose. Do you have any literature to support that to be a pump something? Because actually what we're finding is that people that are using this that have mental or mood disorders, they're deriving a tremendous amount of benefit out of it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I hate for people to get stuck in this misinformation loop where they just don't know what to do and they get scared and they become paralyzed with fear, And unfortunately, I feel like that's very unfortunate. So anyway, do a little bit of digging. If you need some literature from me, I'll be happy to supply it to you. No problem at all. So again, dosing wise, I think we're in a good situation here at 20 milligrams. It's per film. There's 15 films per box. We suggest using one every other day. That's why there's 15 in there for a 30-day supply. And if you want to take it 15 days straight in a row, you can do that as well. If you want to take it 2 months straight in a row, you can do that as well. But my message, and Lisa I think agrees, is that we're actually trying to help you restore the normal function of your mitochondria. And this is one part or one, say, like your tool in your belt to help you do that.
Right. So like say, I know I've had the question like, can you just take one when you need a little bit of mood enhancing?
Yeah.
So one here, one there, one sure, you can, but again, the goal is to get that mitochondrial functioning properly to prevent that mitochondrial metabolism like decrease that happens as our brains age. So it's just like when you take supplements on a regular basis. It's you're not just taking your vitamin D one day here because you didn't maybe get outside enough. You're taking it to maintain a level. So,
methylene blue is good in fasting. I don't think I would not recommend this later in the day near bedtime. It does actually, if you're still intermittent fasting, it does increase autophagy. So that's the cleanup of the cell. It's taking out the junk in the cell. So it can help with that process as well. And there's another part to this. I would like for you guys, if it's possible, once you take methylene blue, you can go out and seek natural sunlight. And by doing so, it actually increases this, again, it provides a synergistic response to the mitochondria. It can actually help sort of provide more ATP and increase the mitochondria.
Right. And if you don't have sunlight, I have had this question a lot. If you have any form of red light therapy access to in your home or in a facility, that's really where the studies are done on it. That's told, but it doesn't have to be a lot, right? Like
no.
It can just be a lot, but it doesn't have to be full body. I mean, you can just have a little bit of there's handheld little red light things for people use for pain and stuff. You can use that red light.
It's called photobiomodulation. That's the way that this photon energy from the sun or the light helps increase the cellular respiration and mitochondrial function. So definitely check that out. Within 30 minutes of taking, go out, you can get 5, 15, 20 minutes of sunlight, just exposing your skin to it. And I think that's good for us as a whole anyway.
Right. I mean, I honestly, personally, I love taking it before like a morning walk in the sun because during my walks is where my wheels are spinning a lot, lots of thinking and planning and stuff going on. Carrying a rock, yeah. So I really like it for that. It kind of gets it all done. But you do it how it works for you. Again, Ryan said there's 15 films in here, and I'm just going to throw out the price there because to me this is crazy. For members, it's only $12.95. So 30-day supply of methylene blue for $12.95. Crazy. Non-members, the retail price $19.95. Let's talk a little bit about how maybe the blue.
Yeah, it's on my tongue. I had mine this morning.
Yes, and so did I. So I'm going to show you how ours is different because we're still experimenting a little bit. And if you were on Friday's call, you would have seen how Ben's mouth went. So what Ben did is he put the film in his mouth, let it completely dissolve, but he let it all go in, his mouth. That's going to leave you a lot of blue. If you want that, go for it. But
not bad, really not
just
much.
my very back. So when I took the film, horizontal, I set it down in the back as I kept my mouth open. As you can feel it starts to dissolve on your tongue, I just swallowed water. So it dissolves very, very fast. So I didn't close my mouth and go into the saliva all over and get everything blue. So I think that is going to be the way I do it, unless I really want blue.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So figure out what works for you. Might feel a little bit more bitter somewhere. Might feel a little bit more minty somewhere. When I put it in the back this time, I had nothing.
Right.
I didn't even have mints.
It's causing numbness and tingling a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a weird.
That's completely normal. It will go away. How long does the blue last?
2 to 3 hours. Depends on how you.
No, the stain on your tongue.
Yeah.
I can think it lasts all day. It depends on how it stains your tongue. I mean.
And it can cause blue your urine to be green.
Yeah.
Because the blue mixed with the typical yellow.
Completely normal.
Normal. Okay. We did pull some Q&A, see if there's anybody here that has any questions. We're running long, but again, that was kind of a new launch, so.
This is recorded. Will be posted on our YouTube channel right after this. Just the Bluetooth challenge.
I like it, Joel. Let's do the Bluetooth challenge. Send it over to what is it? Living Good.
Living Good with Ryan and Lisa.
Yeah. Post some on there, and it's on Facebook.
Yeah.
That would actually be pretty funny, Joel.
Okay. You are
brief at the start. You don't need to. As a matter of fact, I encourage a lifestyle approach to improving the mitochondrial function, but certainly you could take this more than once a day, and 6 times a day. That's 300 milligrams orally. We're only talking about 20 milligrams of film, so if you did, and by the way, you can cut them in half. You can do 10 milligrams, 20 twice a day, 40. You figure out what works for you. There is quite a bit out there. I'd suggest you do some searching with how this product relates to autism, because we're showing there's obviously that's being studied as well.
Yeah, we did stir the cup. So you're not drinking this in water.
You can.
Yeah, but
people ask if you want to drink it, you can drink it. You can put it in a few ounces of water.
Having like blue smile.
I see, but if you just did a few ounces of water, not as much as this, you could. I don't know. I haven't done it, but maybe I will, and I'll report back. But you guys can let me know.
Right.
But it's water-soluble fiber. If you notice the ingredients, it's really minimal. It's kind of neat the way that the films work and the way that they're formulated.
The COA kit.
I'll send it to the tech today. I should have already done that. My apologies, but I'll send it up to the tech support today.
I feel like what happens sometimes we get so excited right when something comes in our house.
I think Leslie, you might have already heard me answer this, but the form is method being used in children and pets. That's not what this is formulated for, but so export chain. But NAD is another one where you could potentially upregulate your body, become build a tolerance to it. Methylene blue, that's not the case. Memory, big thing with memory.
This is a question I got.
Yeah, I'll come back on that. Yeah, I don't see any real contraindications as far as age goes for elderly. Actually, it's being used now in advanced stages of people that have neurodegenerative diseases, so you're seeing it used in the elderly. Zoloft, I would say just go back and listen to the Zoom if you missed that part, but not at this dose. I'm not concerned about it, but I still caution. Oh, question about the dentures. Will it stay in the dentures? That's a dentist question. Maybe you can ask. I don't know. Maybe maybe I'll have an answer for that for you. There are no adjustments. So there's a question from Lottie about how could be. Do you have to change the dose if your kidneys are compromised for like renal insufficiency for kidney disease? Because there's other meds on board that could interact. Yes. All day, depending on how you apply it, whether the back of the tongue or the front of the tongue. Oh, you'll start feeling. So there's a question from Lisa: how long does it take to see a change? You'll feel it. Actually, you'll feel a sense of connection, focus, energy, mental engagement. People have actually made that. So just cut it in half. 10 milligrams, 15 days off, or 30 days on, 30 days off. There's no hard line in the sand about it. Actually, for people that are in the studies, are using this every day, long term, especially if they're using it for neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So, yeah, I don't know. So it doesn't have to be on the red light. It can be anywhere on the body. Really, it could be the face. It could be the hands, the arms.
Yeah, I have a face mask.
Yeah, she has a face mask.
Put that one on.
Brushing your teeth, it may stain the toothbrush. If you try to do that, you might want to just get a dedicated brush to loosen it up. Rinse with water, mouth would swallow. I think it would be helpful to do that.
Again, you guys remember.
Back of the tongue, not much dye.
Not much there at all to get on my teeth without anything.
This is front of the tongue 3 hours later.
And mine was later, back of the tongue.
What a bit of blue. Michelle, USB is added on the website, I think, or it should be on the. You'll see it on the actual back of the box, in the ingredients.
Which is also on the website.
Yeah. So you're right. It's not on the front, but on the back it is, on the panel. A lot of promise with ADHD. A lot of good studies encouraging things coming out on it.
Remember that we've never drank it. We were just showing the color. You can. But again, on the tongue.
Yes, you can cut it in half. It will stain your fingers a little bit too. It's just the craziest thing, the salt. I mean, you're seeing virucidal, you're seeing bactericidal. Like in SARS-CoV-2, like they were looking at it from in COVID and treated COVID, and also on the long haulers, there was so much discussion. There was a lot of promise.
Everybody as we age, and of course, lifestyle things affect that, whether it goes slower or faster. But me personally, I'm not messing around with things that are going on up here. So I'm going to do everything that I can in my power to prevent that from happening.
Yeah. And I think, look, as you age, you see it. You start some of the zest and the energy, and you start to feel, not yourself. And they describe it as brain fog and confusion and different things of that nature. Now, if you're not to that level, that's great, but maybe a time to stay proactive for you goes, would this be good for? So he had a traumatic brain injury 4 years ago. Yeah, so there's a strong study out on TBI where it showed statistical significance on improvement of symptoms. It was like oxygen deprived, some specific type of traumatic brain injury. And I don't know why it's not used more mainstream, because it seems to me that the evidence is very strong for TBI. Definitely, again, I hate to just say Google search, please, like that. Be careful with that. But if you do Google that, you'll find it. I think that encephalitis, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I know I was reading studies that has to do with like Lyme disease and stuff like that. How
cerebral, respiratory oxygenation, like it delivers more oxygen to brain cells, increasing the respiration of the cell. So, I mean, there's some small case that would be to be expected. I've used it plenty on a single thing, but good. Slam it back. Use a shot glass. There you go. Yes, it is stain. Yes, it will stain. A lot of questions, guys. I appreciate all the engagement. Thank you. Interesting results.
Does it need to be taken away from any medication?
Without medication or even with medication under control, you should not take methylene blue pressure. We've talked about. Please watch our one on hypertension.
Yes. There is replacement again. Doesn't have a blue tongue, so I just took it horizontally and I just put it on the very back. Kept my mouth open. I'm telling you, it takes like a second for you to stall. Once I did that, I just chug bar.
And it's going to take practice, Barry. I hate to say it, you might have to have that particularly.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other questions? You know how to reach us. But we're at 30.
Yeah. Wow. Sorry to keep you all so long. I just hope this was informative enough for you and answers a lot of your questions and concerns.
Yeah. And again, we'll get everything else on the website for your information. But
all right, y'all.
If you haven't had a chance, get your methylene blue, $12.95 for your members.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day. See you soon.
This is an anomaly. Harper's Bazaar magazine featured her on the cover and said she's the author of the world's #1 manifestation method. And as I got to know her story, I got pulled off. Get this, just less than 10 years ago, this woman had only $8 in her bank account. Today, she has 600 acres of land in Costa Rica where she's building her own resort empire. She has a business that does over $42 million a year. And every aspect of her life seems to be blessed by remarkable the incredible she's experiencing even in her physical body. What makes Reagan Hillier the woman she is? She's Mind Valley has 20 million followers globally. And I think reality is your way towards our goal. One name is Reagan Hillier. So I got Reagan to sit down with me and take us through her story because there's trade deals of people she works with on how to manifest better. CEOs pay this woman up to $1 million a year just to help them manifest. Now, the crazy thing is this. Reagan became the person that you see on all of these magazine covers. Her life was an absolute mess. And I want you to listen to her story because perhaps you're going through some period of your life right now that is far from ideal. Maybe listen to Reagan's story because you'll see how you might be able to.
I remember when I was living in an amazing apartment, starting to do well, and I was going about my normal morning. I'd made my cup of coffee, and I saw this letter slide under the door. And I felt absolutely sick to my stomach. The letter said that I had 48 hours to get out of the apartment. I was being evicted. And I thought to myself, this can't be right. And so I logged onto my internet banking to check why the rent payment hadn't gone through, and I realized that I had $8.70 left in my bank account. I started to panic. My heart was racing. I thought to myself, I can tell my family that have been telling me I'm going to fail that I'm in this situation. I called one of my friends that I trusted in Melbourne. His name was Theo. And I explained to him what was happening. And I said, I don't have anywhere to sleep. Could I come and stay with you? And he said, yes, but I have a 1-bedroom apartment. You can sleep on my couch. I said, okay, I'll take it. And I turned up there and I was sitting on this couch whilst my friend paid for my food. And I had my head in my hands. And I just remember thinking to myself, how did I get here? The vision of my life that I was trying to manifest was so big and so grand and so exciting, yet I would get out of there to get really, really clear on manifesting the love that I knew I deserved. I was manifesting wealth, freedom, time freedom, so many things, but for some reason, I had forgotten that I could actually manifest a soulmate. And so I sat down with the same protocols, the same tools, but I applied them to my heart. I applied them to the area of love. And 2 weeks after I left that previous abusive relationship, I manifested my soulmate. I was at an entrepreneurs festival and I connected with my now husband, Wampa, on the very last day of the very last minute. Now, his story on this is different. He says that he followed me around for those 3 or 4 days and then we connected, but I saw him at that very last moment. The minute I saw him, my heart knew. My mind was worried because I didn't think I was ready to receive a manifestation that quickly. I'd only left that relationship 2 weeks ago, but my soul knew that this was divine synchronicity and it was aligned. 2.5 years later, we got married and now we live in this beautiful estate in Costa Rica, over 600 acres of paradise, of jungle, of waterfalls, fruit trees everywhere. And what is really beautiful is that when we came together, I got a stepson, Daniel. Daniel was an amazing young man and also very curious. He would always ask me, what am I working on? How did I do it? He had so many questions. And so I started teaching him a lot of the tools and protocols and practices, and he started applying them to his own life as a teenager. In fact, his company made over $100,000 by the time he was 17. Daniel's also being published and featured in Forbes magazine all around the world, and he's created an online community to bring other teams together to live better lives. And right now, he's only 18. So people were watching me completely change my life. And very organically, people started coming to me saying, can you help me as well? And at first, I didn't really want to help them because I wasn't sure if the things that I was doing would actually work on myself. And so I went deeper and really refining. Then I decided to work with them very in the protocols. And the strangest thing happened. They sent the tools, started creating my own methods around this. And I built this into a whole series of work called the energetic architecture method. This method is what I use in the Mind Valley mismatch between you and what you're looking to manifest. Just like when you're trying to choose.
That is one of the most important questions in this world right now. Are you living the life you want, or are you living the life you've been programmed? And the answer, unfortunately, is
a central idea in all of your work appears to be
It's going to my nutrition, bio, telecommunications, and the focus is all about food jobs. Then why didn't all of them play? I wonder. Maybe by they know molecular beams were the only chosen provisions in the state. Okay, when methane, so let's go to cholesterol. Methane and cholesterol books. Pretty much the same.
All right, we are off. Hello, everyone. Monday.
Yeah, hey, everybody.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We are covering a topic that we've kind of touched along with when we talk about heart disease, but today we're really going to dig into cholesterol. I think we all know what cholesterol is, and probably been told that we have somewhat of a high cholesterol, bordering. I mean, it's just very common. I know it's very common. It's a very common question that I get. Cholesterol, first of all, coronary heart disease is the most common type of heart disease, right? And high cholesterol is a contributor to that. So that's one reason why we really need I don't know what they call it, like a hidden risk factor.
Sure.
You know, so we don't really know what's going on until it's too late. And the problem with, high cholesterol leads to heart attack due to, coronary heart disease. And really, I was just reading a statistic that adults over 20, 1 in 20 of adults over 20 have coronary heart disease. That's pretty crazy, because now we're not just pushing along into the older population where maybe we think that we get, the common diseases and sickness, and you need to know your numbers. You need to work with your doctor to understand what's going on so you can help cholesterol and prevent it from increasing. So Ryan is going to quickly give us maybe not quickly, but he's going to give us the science and dig into all about cholesterol, and I'll try to intervene if anything is a little bit too scientific.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. It's hard because this is a topic that we can dive deep on just one little area, and then we can spend a lot of time on the pharmacological options and the pros and the cons there, but we're going to try to simplify it today. We're going to run down sort of what it is, how it presents, risk factors, what the therapy options are, and we'll kind of go through that to the best of our ability. But you're right, a lot of people deal with it, and of course there's some genetic component. So high cholesterol is also called dyslipidemia. It's also called fat. So they, but she nailed it. Right on the head. It's the coronary artery disease part. And when you look at heart disease, like Lisa said, the number one cause is CAD, coronary artery disease, and that's a buildup of a atherosclerotic disease. Term now for it, atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, ASCVD. And that's the way that they're really kind of approaching this, because over time, high amounts of primarily LDL-C, and we'll specify what those are in just a second, but that ultimately is what, over time, out of LDL-C, along with some inflammation, obviously, is what starts to develop and build up these plaques. And it sort of becomes more occlusive. It shrinks down the arteries, and ultimately, potentially, with know your numbers, just simple blood work.
And also, too, it's not just the traditional handle size. I mean, there's so many little parts to it. Like everything's got a little letter. LDL for this, ApoB, little a, but you have to be with a physician, work with a physician that understands this, and can really help you dissect it. And, I'm pretty sure Ensure is the deeper test, but I know it's not expensive if it doesn't, and it's so crucial to your health that you have got to know these numbers.
Yeah, let's just do that real quick. So traditionally, lipid panel is your total cholesterol, which is a number of 200 roughly is where your cholesterol level has, and all the quite the protection people think it does. So that's one area that's on. At least it's right. It's probably apolipoprotein B is a better metric than LDL-C. That is one that absolutely should be on your lipid panel. Please, please, please make sure that you guys have that on your next blood run, because it.
Say it one more time.
Apolipoprotein B, ApoB. So that's the one you really want to get. All right, let's look at that. Let's pay attention to that, and then as well as triglycerides. So that's the fat in your blood. Typically, that number is around 150 in the guidelines. I think around. And then on the HDL, I think it's 60. They want to see you above 60. So, but anyway, yeah, Lisa's right. They have lipoprotein A. There's different particle sizes. You do want to work with a physician that's familiar with these different ways of analyzing 60. It's been a little bit, and that was like I was trying to say. It's not, today's discussion isn't necessarily to define that. So when you get your blood work, your lab, that all seconds. Smoking, you're increasing your risk exponentially. It's
right.
just
LDL up,
yeah.
HDL down,
Yeah.
triglycerides up. I mean, no matter what.
The second main risk factor is your out of control high blood pressure, so hypertension. So I think the C, protein B, or LDL-C, right? Just so the third one is really that LDL concentration. The number is working on lowering that as much as possible. I mean, other risk factors, of course, we know are sedentary lifestyle, obesity, a lot of the same type of risk factors as different disease states, whether it's insulin resistance, diabetes, dyslipidemia, hypertension, so there certainly is a lot of overlap.
Right. And I mean, of course, diet.
Oh, sure. And that's a question I get. That's a question I get a lot. I'm sure we'll talk about it. But should people avoid saturated fats if they have a high LDL?
It really, the research is really showing now that it depends on the quality of what you're eating. I mean, that is high in saturated fat, but that is also proven to help and benefit markers for heart disease.
And inflammation.
And inflammation. So it really just depends. But like, you don't want to be getting your saturated fat from high processed foods, from fried food, meats that just are, I guess unclean. I don't know.
Sure. I follow you.
You got to buy good meats. You have to buy good meats. And even there's some benefits to like high fat or full fat dairy, but it also has to be like, a grass fed organic dairy. Especially with the yogurt, there's benefit there. So you have to be choosy. These things are not equal. Like a McDonald's hamburger and a home cooked grass fed lean red meat hamburger don't equal the same thing. They don't.
No, I agree. All right, let's talk about his presentation. You did say that it's kind of sleeper. Most people don't know they have high cholesterol, especially if you have familial hypercholesterolemia that potentially can present in young children. So again, knowing that if you have a family member that has either died from a cardiovascular event or had a cardiovascular event, has high diagnosed LDL, you should know. You need to know your numbers. You certainly need to know your numbers. For the most part, though, the presentation is insidious, which means it's really unknown and continues to get worse over time until potentially there's a cardiovascular event. So myocardial infarction or a stroke. There are some things though, like erectile dysfunction. Poor blood flow, poor perfusion. So, either intermittent, it's called intermittent claudication or peripheral artery.
Cholesterol, it doesn't happen.
We know big pharma is involved here big time. And again, I'm not going to opine on the way that, especially on the American side, the way that our chronic disease is managed is all done through insurance. It's all done through, reimbursements. There's not much for lifestyle changes. I mean, hopefully there's at least an introduction, like a conversation on it. But then you're sent home and left to figure it out all by yourself. And that's not cool. Like, that's seriously not an easy thing to do. It's awfully intimidating at times. And so that's part of the reason why we do these Zooms too. We get a lot of questions. And it's helpful for us to have this content to share with everybody and to let you know that the first place and of course the most impactful is lifestyle. And it's not just supplementation. We'll talk about that in a minute, but certainly beyond that, the next thing is statin drugs. And we know some downsides. And I always talk about from a drug-induced nutrient deficiency, right? We've done this, I believe, the video. We've done a drug-induced nutrient deficiency Zoom on statins. I think we've already done it. But nonetheless, there's quite a few things that happen when you go on a statin drug. And that's what I want to touch on quick now, Lisa, and then we can jump into some other things related to stuff. But real quick, it could deplete your body of, so if you start a statin drug, it's an the way that statins work for consult. But with that, potentially, we're losing our coenzyme Q10 stores, right? Also testosterone, so it can affect our testosterone production. Because remember, I didn't talk about this, but cholesterol, of course, is a precursor to sex hormones. We need cholesterol. It's an essential component the structural component of our cellular membranes. So, at least a thing, LDL, like when kids are born, it's like next to zero. And then they development. And as a child, in the first year of life, second, third, fourth, fifth, so LDL is so low.
Right.
Yeah, I do support aggressive LDL lowering. Lowers vitamin D, right? We'll talk. That's it. Maybe 2 others. Let's see if I have. Carnitine. Carnitine, zinc, copper, and omega-3 fatty acids. So omega-3 fatty acids as well, which we'll talk about here in the second one.
Right, and even though this.
Risk reward, yeah, sure.
I mean, it's more important to have your cholesterol numbers down. What the goal is here is to really help you so you can work with your doctor. Maybe as your numbers start to decrease, then they can start to decrease your medication, and the end goal is eventually to be off the medication.
I see that.
Always, 100%. This is always doing this with the physician. I mean, my dad is one of them, but it's still a constant battle. Like, he can't slip up. My dad is now off medication for cholesterol, but if he starts to deviate to a little bit of maybe, I just help to decrease our LDL, increase our HDL, and also decrease our triglycerides. And some of those things can be.
Say that correctly. Sorry, did I hear that properly?
Decreased LDL is high fiber foods, cellular fiber.
Soluble.
Thank you. High fiber foods, your beans, oats, but always trying to make sure we're keeping a low carbohydrate diet as well with cholesterol. You need to get rid of all your bad saturated fats, and that's kind of what we just talked about. That like the junky foods like your dairies and your sorry.
I don't know where we
No, your red meats and your dairy and your junk oils, right? You want to replace those with the beneficial stuff, the heart healthy stuff. So your grass-fed dairy, your grass-fed meats, your olive oil, your
foods. I believe that. Typically, the dose starts around 1 gram to 1,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA, but truthfully, it's about 3 to 4 grams where it really starts to lower cholesterol.
Right, which is what we always say. You can increase.
You should increase.
Your factor 4. We say 2 per day, but if you're really working on something, you can increase your dose. What is it, up to 8?
So 2 of these a day. This is the dose. 2 a day is 1,000, basically just under 1,000 milligrams of EPA.
Well, you're good maintenance.
Good start. Has good for inflammation, all that. But really, you need to increase it to about 6 soft gels per day to lower your triglycerides.
Right. So it's super important. And we always struggle. Like, it's great to eat your fatty fish. I mean, is going to increase, can lead to increasing your LDL. That comes in your packaged foods, guys, like your Twinkies, all that junk that we love, to walk down those center 0.5. The trans fat is made to increase the shelf life. So if you see something like there, then it can last in your shelf for 6 months. Red flag, something's wrong.
Years, probably.
Right. I mean, exercise, crucial. You have to exercise. Show that especially high intensity interval training is the most benefit of seeing with your cholesterol. You don't have to eat, okay?
Let me comment on that. I will say that. So there's a study showed that about 50% is a 1 hour high intensity. So that's like your boxing class type stuff. But
divided up over the week. Right?
Yeah. So 3 hours.
Works for you.
However works for you. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. And zone 2, that's like your sustained endurance. So you can talk during it.
Not easy.
But you're like, okay, yeah, you're having like little conversations. You're not all talking. So it's maybe if you're riding a bike, just get back to where you feel like you're huffing, but you can still hold a conversation. That's kind of how to monitor that zone 2. And when you say, was that an hour for the week?
It was 3 weeks. So 1 hour a week.
By 50%, that's huge. 50%. Vitamin D, which is kind of this is where it gets. So say you're on a statin and it depletes your vitamin D, but also if you have, if you want to add vitamin
beyond
D,
that,
you need to add vitamin D to get your cholesterol down. You're taking another vitamin D. Another thing to know is your numbers. because we all don't need the same amount of vitamin D. So if you're based on your blood work, you need to increase. That's why we also have given 60 capsules in our vitamin D. B vitamins.
Yeah, B vitamins. All the lower homocysteine, exactly. So I was help bring down.
Add again super greens and super reds.
Right. For the phytonutrients. A lot of that's for all your phytonutrients, antioxidants, and it's stuff you don't typically eat. They see it under the rainbow, but a lot of these are foods that are super high nutrient density. Of course, have a lot of benefit to reduce inflammation.
Lose weight, because we know that if you are overweight, this is typically common of having more cholesterol numbers. High LDL, low HDL, high triglycerides, because triglycerides don't just come from like the fats that we eat. What it is also is just extra calories stored that our body doesn't need for fuel right then. That's going to get those fats circulating in your blood. So a lot of times we don't think about triglycerides like that. It can just come from overeating. Okay, so really we need to focus on weight reduction. And
I don't know. You mean fat reduction? We're trying to shed fat weight from lean muscle.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the protein powder, and they're gonna help with that. And you can take this powder, and you can add for so great avocado in your shake. So you're making it more nutrient dense, more calorie dense, healthy fats that actually are beneficial to your body. Same thing goes for nuts. But again, you have to understand that this always is about moderation. So you don't think like, oh, an avocado is great for cholesterol, I'm going to eat a whole avocado a day. No, too much. Okay, our bodies don't need that much. Quarter of an avocado. The bag of nuts, that's the protein powder, and our essential aminos are here to help you put on muscle mass and decrease your fat, therefore helping you with your cholesterol levels. What else I had? There's benefits of the shiitake mushroom. Shiitake mushrooms are also proven to benefit cholesterol. Again, in our coffee. I think that's what. Yeah. We might not think like, that's not me. And one of the questions, like, I did not.
There's no. Okay. Cover a lot. Touch on everything except magnesium, but again, that being involved in so many reactions in our body with 300, it has everything to do from sleep, stress, bone, high blood pressure. So it's another crucial one, because another pillar of health. Lipoprotein is nothing more than just that. It's removal of waste. Make sure you're aware of any drug. Your cholesterol numbers, protein B. If you're getting told, maybe you can seek out a new provider if you're just not happy with what you're hearing from your current provider. A little bit to your lipid. So all the doctors is blood pressure. Cholesterol is an easy one. It's easy. You can get your insulin resistance done. It's a little harder because it's the oral glucose tolerance test. We talked about it. That's a bit truthfully once you start incorporating some of these. And honestly, along the way, I feel like you get better and more informed. And you just, I think then you're right?
Yeah, you're advocate for your health. We cannot rely on it for this purpose. Yep. We designed it because it's for health and wellness. It's not like a one thing that's a quick fix. It's overall lifestyle, overall health and wellness. So make sure you get yours today and start reaping the benefits. Okay. Any further questions? Always available via email.
All right, you guys rock. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.
See you next time. Eventually, Eric will find it.
If you haven't noticed by now, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, i.e. my dark spots, are my biggest skin concern, and I'm in the process of tackling it with Olivia's new vitamin C. C range. As somebody with acne-prone and combination skin, protecting my skin barrier and hydration are my biggest priorities. And there's something about a product that ticks all the boxes that does it for me.
I'm going back.
All right, we are up. Hello, everyone.
Multitasking.
dosing. So you kind of really have to figure out what works for you.
Yeah, that's my problem.
All right, hello everyone, and happy Monday. I'm going to do just a live Q&A. So I did get some questions, but it's about natural flavors. And I get this question often of those, their formulas.
Frustrating.
But it's very, it's not private in a negative way, but they work very hard. I mean, these natural flavors are to actually match the flavor that's at hand. So maybe that sounds a little bit synthetic. So next one is, once we launched our collagen, and I have so many questions about why is there sugar cane in the collagen? I'm a diabetic, or I'm on keto, I can't have sugar, blah, blah, blah. There is no sugar. We'll elaborate on that.
Yeah, no, it's not polysaccharide. It's not a saccharide. It's not a sugar. I think we're talking about polyol. Polyol is sugarcane extract. It's not a sugar contributor. It is more a bioactive rich polyphenol / bioflavonoid contributor. So those are your antioxidants. The bioactive components of it, we've talked about it in the collagen Zoom. So take a look at that. But we can assure you, we're not fans of added sugar. If you listen to anything we talk about, we are very much against added sugars. With one exception, it looks like we are formulating an organic, USDA certified organic gummy that we need to finalize, but it looks like there might be a small sugar component to that as well. But
right.
Anyway, when we can, we certainly will avoid it, and this is no exception. There is no sugar in the collagen.
Right. Okay, perfect. And then somebody emailed me this morning about calcium and D3, and I get a lot of the questions of why don't we have calcium mixed in with our supplements.
Has to do with bone building and bone strength. Most things. So it deals with bone metabolism. So bone building and other weight. Not knowing the specific condition, but if you consider what is it they call a polyol, or they call Blossom-Tol or Preflex. They're just naming ingredients that have been used widely, and what they're doing is they're putting a name, a patent on it, and then they're studying it. They're trying to show clinical benefit, but they're also, more importantly, defining the standard operating procedure of how they acquire. They know there's a lot of consistency there, because guys, in this world, factor supplements, sourcing can be so inconsistent. That's where the problems really begin, actually, for a lot of manufacturers and a lot of brands that sell dietary supplements.
Yes. Carolyn, you may be new to Live Good, so not have heard of Dr. Four, which has been in and out of stock and is getting picked up or delivered, I think.
No, it's here.
Oh, here. Okay, great. So it should be either live on our website today or tomorrow, but that's our megas, yes.
Yeah, Factor 4 is omega-3 fatty acids, concentrated ethyl esters. You'll get about 1,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA or about 100, in 2 salt gels.
L-mean. I assume this is, what does L mean before the ingredients? I assume you're talking about amino acids. That's the name of the amino acids.
Yeah.
I mean, L-citrulline, L-glutamine, L-arginine.
If that's what you're asking.
I don't know what else.
Isomer. I mean, just has to do with their molecular structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's an anonymous assessment of vitamin D being rat poison. I've gotten where the fish comes from, how it's sourced, and we paid more to have it done in an ethical fishery. So, this one now, hold on. Will you be making a non-vegan protein powder? Yeah, I guess we'll just tell you guys now. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what's next.
Yeah,
that's coming next.
The chocolate one.
We're going to do the chocolate that way. Very particular about the sourcing on this for whey. Very particular. We're evaluating different things, and I think we're close. We're making final decisions now.
And Julie, I don't know if you've tried our pea protein. A little different with the fermentation.
Yeah, fermentation's different.
Takes away from all those negative anti-nutrients of pea protein.
Yeah.
So if you haven't tried it, give it a shot.
We've had people tell us that every pea protein is their problem except this one.
Right. And I have a sensitive gut. I do. So I'm always cautious about everything that I'm doing to it. So give it a shot.
Tracy, about how do you get familiar with our product line? Well, these videos are a great start. You can check out the old Monday Zooms that we've done on different particular products. Check out our website, look at the label, educate yourself on the label, email us questions, and yeah, just watch more videos, tune in.
Right. So on our YouTube channel, like we have already covered each product. So you can learn about what we currently have, and then once we launch a new product, we do a launch Zoom and product training. We're running kind of late. Brittany, yes, we're going to do other protein flavors. The next is the chocolate way, and then we're going to continue to evolve from there. We'll add and do some different things. We just go live. No, that was
okay.
All past recordings are all on our YouTube channel, and you can actually get to our YouTube channel straight, because I know if you Google, if you put in there for the search bar on YouTube, Live Good, you're going to get a ton of stuff. On the bottom left of our website, you'll see the little icons for social media, and one of them is the YouTube. Click on it, takes you to our YouTube channel, and then you'll find all the Zooms.
Hey Cheryl, the children's vitamins will be available soon. I told you this website, we're dosing is different between a toddler and that based on it, so we're testing those now. We don't have anything with glutathione in it. Yeah, Ernie asked about our amino acid dosing. Amino acid dosing does matter. Starting at about 3 grams of essential amino acids, you want 40% of that to be leucine. That's the formula synthesis. I've gone on and on. There's 2 Zooms on amino acids. If you watch our second Zoom, I really get into part 2 of amino acids. I get into a lot of that dosing of amino acids.
Difficulty sleeping. Somebody saying patches hasn't helped their friend, I believe. Other products.
Significant sleep disturbance.
Right. This is this kind of needing to find the root cause of why this person is not sleeping. And because the sleep patches are just to kind of like give us that little boost, help us fall asleep. It's not to fix us.
No, I think it's every night.
Right. It's a sleep problem. I don't know if they're taking the magnesium. Could be the magnesium. Could be needing CBD oil if you live in the U.S. But really finding out the root cause. CoQ10, Jenny, is in factor 4.
Winifred, we multivitamin lutein and zeaxanthine. Both of those were part of the ARID study to support vision.